I'm fucking in the rain, just sucking 'cause I'm gay. What a glorious feeling, I'm homo again. I'm laughing at cum so deep in my throat. The dick's in my ass, and I'm ready for love.
Like, did you recognize any of the landmarks in the cock named Orange?
Like similar enough, but I haven't been to Thames Head where most of that was filmed.
What? I thought, mind you, them days was because some of them drogues had northern accents, didn't they?
Yeah, I mean they speak a mishmash, right?
But what? Who had the most? Or out of the drogues, the Gulliver of the drogues, his character, he sounded northern at times, and then the fella who replaced him with Mum and Dad, he sounded awful northern.
Yeah, that guy was pretty northern. But I couldn't tell whether Malcolm McDowell was an American or not. He's from Yorkshire originally, but you wouldn't be able to tell from his accent.
Whoa.
I could tell.
You could tell? All right.
Hey, he looks fucking Brit-bonging. They just have a certain look to them. I don't know what it is.
Okay, if you're basing off the look, sure enough.
I've inspected his teeth, is what I've done. And them teeth is not continental.
No, he probably had quite a bit of accent training.
Well, all the British actors go to like actual theater school, right? And so they have to learn how to do but of course the appropriate dialect for this, the Shakespeare character of Iago is Cornish. And whereas American actors are like, I will get my parents to pay for me to have no job in LA for at least 7 years. And then maybe if I become hot enough, I can be in the movies.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, he went to the London School of Music and Dramatic Art or whatever. Went through the same process as everyone. He's a Nepo baby, basically.
Yeah, but what does that even mean, though, Nepo?
Nepotism?
Oh, I thought it was kind of like a hippo.
Yeah, I thought it was like a Zoomer word or something.
Oh, you thought like it wasn't short for anything?
Yeah, I thought it was like
the sound.
6'7". Yeah, it could have been like Riz. That's not short for anything.
Okay, you're just winding.
No,
I probably was hearing Riz or Riz Up for like 6 months before I realized it was related to charisma. That's fair.
I thought it had to do with jizz.
I thought it was
and thus
Zoomer babble. I didn't know the origin for a bit.
Okay.
I thought it had to do with jizz. Did you hear my comment?
Speaking of things we don't notice, I didn't notice until today that the triangle on the Clockwork Orange poster is an A, the letter A. I thought they just stuck a triangle in there.
Oh, I thought it was that he cut a hole in the middle of a poster with the knife.
But why would it be A though?
Because his name's
Alex.
Alex.
The film is called A.
I thought it was called The Clockwork Orange.
No, it's A Clockwork Orange, and the A is the triangle thing on the poster is an A.
Singular Clockwork Orange.
No, I don't know.
You tell me there's more than one of these, then?
It's not. It's that. No, I think it's The Clockwork Orange. It's the band.
The Clockwork Orange. Well, supposedly the title comes from a Cockney saying he's as queer as a Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, The Clockwork Orange, the novel.
The Clockwork Orange?
Yeah, it makes sense.
In the novel, The Clockwork.
There's only one everyone knows.
I'm going to see if I can edit the Wikipedia page right now to fix this.
Yeah, please put the on there.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And let's hit publish changes.
I mean, there's been some different stories about where the title actually comes from, but that seems to be the most popular.
Yeah, but why would the clockwork be orange?
Okay. My edit was published. We did it. Everybody get on Wikipedia right now. You got one chance.
It's not there, dude. I'm sorry.
It looks like it's changed.
Sorry to say, big boy.
No. I don't
say it. But the Spanish version is The Clockwork Orange.
So I was trying to tell you.
I think this was what I think they should call it a Clockwork Orange because everything is dick themed.
Yeah.
There were a lot of pieces
in the future. The entire artistic sensibility of society will be dick themed.
Yeah, I believe it.
Did it feel very futuristic?
Or
was it just 70s?
It reminded me of Britain. Like there's too many. The problem is it's not very futuristic because there's too many white people.
Oh.
There's no one speaking Indian there.
Well, maybe white people are the only ones to make it to a different planet.
No, this is the same planet. It's.
How'd you know? It could be like
the same planet. Are we sure?
Yeah, pretty sure, dude. It's England.
Well, it's. Do you guys remember the movie? What is it?
I think it takes place in '95.
With Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah. I really liked how the setting felt pretty like contemporary yet futuristic at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's the right level of like surreal, where it's like vaguely futuristic, but they're not putting a bunch of like aggressive technology or technology that matters for the plot in.
Yeah. Was there any? I mean, other than Ludovico technique, which I don't know, it probably work. Other than that, was there any like tech in it?
I don't think so. I think the only even the aspect of Ludovico technique that's
milk.
particularly fantastical is
the milk. Yeah, drug
drug
milk.
milk. That's true.
I like milk.
But even then, the Ludovico technique, the only aspect that's really fantastical is the poison that like kicks in and gives you a very specific feeling. You could hypothetically strap someone, like force them to watch movies. You don't need any.
Yeah, you could do it right.
Yeah, but it's
you
just-
guys do it to me every week.
Conditioning, right?
Yeah.
So,
But you don't. I don't know. I just assumed that would work.
oh yeah.
Right? It's like Pavlov. It's classical conditioning. The dog salivates when he hears the bell, even without the presence of the food. So would it be that wacky?
Let me
to
ask you a
think that you'd
question.
Feel sick?
Do you believe you can make somebody gay by doing that? You just like jack them off all the time.
Yeah, that's what happened to the Wachowskis.
You make them watch like shirtless men and then jack them off.
Yeah,
Give
you
them Viagra and
orgasm.
jack them off. They should have tried that.
Yeah, just make them gay instead. But there was that gay prisoner. Remember?
I mean, it would have stopped the assaults.
it doesn't stop
It
him.
would have stopped the assaults on women, but it would increase the assaults on children.
Okay, maybe they just assault each other.
You put them all into prison.
Well, they wanted to decrease the amount of people in the prisons, anyways. So that's
There was the larger homosexual, who was the guy with in the spectacles, if you recall.
I thought he was a bodyguard, but they made him really
Yeah,
gay.
That's actually, I wasn't, at first I felt like it was implying they were gay, but then later it was like, oh, is he just here to carry this guy's wheelchair down the stairs? I don't know. But
Yeah, just a physical, just physical therapist, dude.
I was gonna go with like the guy it was just to like emasculate the old guy, right? To like emphasize the virility of this young guy. Oh look, he's got an ass and muscles. Because they didn't have to dress him like that.
But he made that choice for his workout outfit. And it's like, would you be, if that's just your boss over there, you're telling me that's how you want to dress? I don't know. I'm going into work and fucking.
Oh, plus there was Deltoid, right? There's that part where he was talking to Alex and like asking him to sit by the bed. That was pretty rapey.
Oh, that
gay.
really implied to me that he molests that like this guy is a well, he also at one point grabs his dick directly.
I think he punches his dick and it just like keeps his fist there.
Yeah, but it's like it's kind of, but it's not like, I don't know how to describe this like without showing you visually. It's not like he's putting you make a fist, you put the bottom down as if you're like hammering in. That's not what he does. He puts the end where like his palm would be, and his palm's a little covered, and that's what he smacks down. To me, that implied that the guy uses his position of authority to molest like teenagers, and then
maybe
doesn't particularly care.
But why wouldn't he have done that to Alex?
Well, how do we know he didn't do that to Alex? That could be part of why Alex
From the way that Alex reacts to him.
Yeah.
But sure, I like that. Could be. There's also the chaplain, who there was like a soft implied moment where the chaplain wants to bang him.
No.
When Alex asks him for a word, and the chaplain is talking about how he understands the struggles of men away from the society of women.
Oh, right. That happens while they're walking down the thing. No, I choose to believe the chaplain's just nice and Irish.
He's a good guy.
Mm.
No, I thought the chaplain was more rapey than Deltoid, but
Oh.
I thought he was just getting punched in the dick. I thought that was just like, okay, being a man is the problem. All this testosterone.
Wasn't he like holding him on the thigh while he's like just in underwear sitting on the bed? Wasn't this part of the conversation? It's a lot of physical closeness. I don't know much.
I think it was just, I don't know, it's very uncomfortable to watch.
It was uncomfortable to watch. I would probably be willing to commit crimes to get out of the juvenile system into the adult penitentiary system just to not have to interact with that guy.
And then as a whole, was the film uncomfortable to watch? Because there's like a lot of violence and several rape scenes in it.
I feel like it's so wacky that you get desensitized pretty quick, but also I accept that we probably have higher thresholds for something to be really aggressively difficult to watch than people in 1973 would, or 1971. So that's when this came out. Because didn't Kubrick eventually was like, yeah, fuck it, don't show this in England. This was a mistake. This is too much. Don't ruin England for me.
Yeah, I mean, the story is there's a like juvenile crime wave, and there were several cases of kids that went before juries that ended up blaming A Clockwork Orange, and then ultimately a case that was kind of similar, where I think it was a Dutch kid or maybe a Dutch victim. It was like a country house, and like a gang broke in and raped somebody, and they also blamed Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, but like you could blame anybody for anything.
Yeah, exactly. I think we know that now, right? Like, rock music isn't turning people into Satanists.
You sure?
Yeah, maybe it is.
I heard the Rockstar video game Bully it made every child into a school shooter.
I don't know. Yeah, I think we like closed the corner on that argument, right? That like violent video games make kids violent, but some people still think.
Yeah,
that.
I just listened to an interview with the Jack Thompson guy, one of the main advocates for it, and it's. To me, the argument doesn't pan out like for a bunch of reasons, but you can like see the thought process of those people. So I understand how certain people arrive at that conclusion.
I mean, I think normal people can tell the difference between fiction and reality, and then unhinged people are unhinged anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think a lot of people making that argument agree with, and the idea is that like if we accept that there's a certain amount of unhinged people in the society. The access to these things that could escalate their behavior. Like how do we control the access to these things, especially before they're adults, right? So that's kind of the argument. But it's way too hard to predict. You can't just be like, well, that kid's kind of weird at school, so he's the one who should only be allowed to play Mario Brothers and not Call of Duty. You know what I mean? Like, it's not really like there's no one-to-one conclusion you can make here.
I mean, it's an interesting time to have this discussion with the social media ban coming in. Is there one for Canada? Because I feel like there's a lot of countries who are going through this. In the UK,
I just saw an article the other day where they were considering it. I mean, I think the hard thing with the social media question is that, like, essentially, I don't think it's necessarily a good thing for kids to be on social media, but it feels like a weird thing for the government to have to mandate. You would prefer that parents just do this and figure out what makes sense on a case-by-case basis. I don't know. That's my perspective generally. But when would I have gone on Facebook? Like grade 7, maybe?
Guys, do you guys know about Facebook?
Yeah.
You can poke your friends.
You can poke.
You can wait. Is it a poke? Was
yeah,
there was some kind of like
you could do the poke
cringy thing. It was poke.
Yeah,
it wasn't like hug or something.
But imagine saying it in Clockwork Orange voices, though. I'm gonna poke you, matey.
I poked him in the Tapochka.
In and out.
And then he's poked me back in the Gulliver.
Yeah, see, it's makes sense.
Come on, brother, don't do that poking to me.
There's a lot of Russian words.
Yes, that's where a lot of the
like Devochka
slang is derived from. I think even Gulliver, because that means head, which is one of the ones that's easy to parse. They use it quite a few times, and that is. I think the Slavic or Russian root word is like golova or something, and then so they're anglicizing it. So I think even some of the English-sounding ones have, but that's all from the book, and that's an interesting aspect of this as well, where they keep the narration. Because I haven't read the book. I assume you guys haven't read the book.
I don't know how to read.
There's a lot of voiceover narration where there's a lot of additional use of this slang, which wouldn't necessarily get used in a lot. Obviously, it gets used in situations where he's like with his friends or whatever, but he wouldn't be using it while talking to like the penitentiary system or whatever. So to incorporate a lot of this slang worldview, they keep a voiceover, which I assume is probably pretty close to just like verbatim from the book. I assume the book is narrated in the first person. It has that first person past tense trope where he's like at the end, but of course I didn't die because then I couldn't be telling you this, could I?
Gets me every time. Yeah, I think he had a screenplay made by Anthony Burgess and then threw it out. And then maybe he had our old friend, what's that dude? Terry Gilligan?
Terry Gilliam from Monty Python.
No, who's the Terry from Doctor Strangelove?
Oh, you're thinking of Terry's Chocolate Orange. That's a different orange.
Okay, anyway, he threw out a couple screenplays and in the end he just ended up adapting the book and like going through it page by page to do the scenes.
Terry Southern is the one you're thinking of.
Terry Southern, there we go. That's the other Terry.
Yes, but interestingly, he had the American version of the book, even though he'd forsaken America now for at least half a decade. So Kubrick had the American version of the book, which takes out Burgess's happy ending. So at the end of the book, there's another chapter where Alex has just grown up a bit. He's decided, yeah, I'm just going to be a normie now, innit? I'm just going to watch Coronation Street with the missus, go work, not do any ultra violence. Everything's all right. And Kubrick never read that chapter, so didn't even consider it for the ending. Didn't know that chapter existed till after, because it was only in the UK version. The American version removed it. And that sounds like a pretty unsatisfactory ending to just have him do that. But I also think the way it ends isn't particularly a strong point in this version. It's a hard thing to end this story unless you're just going to have him kill himself or somebody kill him as the consequences of his actions. Because is the implication we're just going to loop back around and he's going to start getting into it again now that he's fixed all right?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Well, the whole time we're watching him take part in the ultraviolence, it's like kind of fun for the viewer. Then he gets basically like castrated and ceases to be a human being in the view of the chaplain because he can't make moral choices. So when he gets restored or fixed, like what ends up happening? He like he tries to kill himself, takes a fall, hits his head, and then it wasn't clear to me whether he had brain damage or not.
Yeah, he was like acting retarded, huh?
With the nurses.
He was like acting retarded, dude. I'm gonna smash the eggies or something.
Yeah, when she was giving him that test. Well, that was, I suppose, the violence coming back.
Yeah, my read of that was that he was almost like a child rediscovering that he could like say violent things or sexualize things or whatever.
Keep in mind, he also did say that he keeps having dreams of people in his head playing with his brain. So maybe they had a surgery or something.
Yeah, that's the part that made me think, does he have brain damage and he can't remember that he went through that treatment?
I thought they went into his brain and reprogrammed him. I thought it was like, I took it literal.
Oh, like they reprogrammed him back to violence, or they tried to fuck with him again?
Maybe. Why not?
Well, it didn't seem to work, right? Like he goes back to.
They lobotomized him instead. Maybe that was easier.
Maybe he seems okay. He seems okay to have a conversation and catch on to what the politician is saying.
Yeah, lobotomies aren't like cookie cutter, so you could still retain like. You have to read studies about lobotomies to really understand how they work, but they don't just make you retarded.
But I think the idea, I don't think the government would want to undo the treatment. They just want to undo the negative PR of the treatment. That's why they want to give him a job and have him in the conversation. They don't care. They actually want him to still be, mentally euthanized or whatever, where he can't make these decisions. But they don't want the bad PR of like, look what you've done to this poor boy. So that's why they want to give him a job and shit. I don't think the government would bother lobotomizing him because from their perspective, it's actually totally fine that he still can't do violence and rape and all these things. But we don't want to take the heat of the press and the other political parties pushing on us that you've ruined this child's life.
Well, by lobotomizing him, maybe that gets rid of the block they created that caused him to feel convulsions.
Maybe. I just assumed it was like the impact. Like he suffered some kind of brain damage that removed the conditioning.
Me too.
Or it was just like straight trauma.
I just thought that part was like comic book logic, because in comic books you'll get like somebody will get hypnotized by Dr. Doom or whatever the fuck, but then if they get smacked in the head hard enough, it's like, oh, we're good now, I'm back to normal. It's just one of those.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, but I like I would disagree with the idea that the government would care, because I think Kubrick is, or Burgess writing the book, is trying to like draw this distinction between the thuggish violence of youth and then how state-sponsored violence is much worse. So if he becomes like a state asset, I don't think they even give a shit that like he beats people up occasionally. They would be there to get his back and cover his tracks, right? Like that's why Dim and one of the other,
the two of
his other pal, like they had the same life as him, but they end up in positions where they can use that violence and the state is fine with it.
Yeah, I think there's another scene that implies as well that this immaturity doesn't change. It just gets absorbed and directed, right? So there's very explicitly when the Droogs become cops, but also that brief moment where he's one of the prison officers or whatever. You remember when they're like testing, after he has to lick Art Garfunkel's shoe on stage?
Oh, yeah, that's another example.
They bring out the naked woman, and then she's walking, and the like prison guard like stands up, like he's like, "Oh, I'm so horny. There's a naked one. I can't handle it." And that to me was like, that's meant to demonstrate like, oh yeah, these people in position of power, like they might not be use anymore, but they still have these like same potentially destructive male impulses where like they can't handle their shit.
Yeah. But that scene as well was another example for me of how, like, it's not violence that we have a problem with, but like the context in which it's applied. So the actor who like hassles him and like goads him into fighting him, the first male guy, like his acting of like being violent and mean and like hurting him is the same thing as him being violent and mean and hurting him, right? Like he's pushing him to the floor and putting his boot in his face or whatever. And that gets a huge round of applause because in that context, that violence is fine. Like violence applied to a criminal, trying to reform a criminal, that's fine. And like the violence of the prison system is fine. For me, I guess the takeaway was like Alex's violence is like boyish violence, like he's trying to have fun. But the like when violence is backed into like the state system, it's the consequences are much worse.
Yeah, exactly. Like the victims, it's totally unjustified victims, but they're kind of random. Like he's essentially just doing this to who he can. They run into a rival gang, and then otherwise the two main flagrant acts. I guess he also beats up the homeless guy, which is like, yeah, just have the opportunity. It's fucked up. He does it. They invade these random houses both the times, or I guess the second house isn't random, but they think there'll be rich stuff to steal. It's essentially random. Like this woman hasn't done anything personally. Whereas at the end, the government institutionalizes the writer, the wheelchair guy.
Oh yeah, that too.
And you're seeing a targeted level of violence, right? Where we know whatever the wheelchair guy's flaws, he's from whatever the rival political party is. The political ideologies aren't like super fleshed out, but I would say he's supposed to kind of be more of like this like commie writer, and the new government that comes in is more of these like law and order conservative types. But I don't think it's really about the specific politics. It's just about like power. They both want power. Like the other political party wants to use Alex to score political points to get in. They also don't care about him fundamentally as a person. But the law and order party, you're seeing it. They're directing their capacity for violence against people that directly oppose them. And it's just as unjustified as Alex attacking random people. But in some ways, it's even more fucked up because they're intentionally targeting people. If the idea is that Alex is so deranged, right? He's such a morally corrupted individual at that stage in his life where he's just going to take out his impulses on anyone.
Yeah, so coming back to the original thing that I took us off on a tangent from, I think the ending is very unsatisfying.
Yeah, I think it's the weakest part of the film. I completely agree.
I think it's great, dude.
Why do you think it was great?
Well, I mean, just think about it, guys. You know, we don't get a happy ending, which I like. You know, we have a very maybe open-ended, and I like that. And I like that. Hey, you know, we might still have a continuation of all the bullshit going on, but maybe it's going to be more higher brow. It's going to be like, you know, I don't know. Maybe he's going to be a minister or something. Who knows?
Okay, so you think it's open-ended. You think he may or may not be back to violence? Because I thought he was like imagining violent stuff in his head, and he had that test with the nurse.
Don't know. We don't know nothing. It's not explicitly clear. You know, he could. You know, it isn't. It would be it'd be clear if he went back to raping and pillaging, right? But it's not.
I know, but I think it's implied that he wants to at least.
Because he's like, "Oh, I was cured, all right."
And then in his head, they're cutting to him like having some weird orgy.
I think what's implied was that his violence is going to be a huge evolutionary step, and it's going to be. No, I'm serious, and I think it's going to be less of the childish one, which even his drogues didn't want him to do. They wanted him to start, you know, evolving his violence tech.
They wanted like serious.
Yeah,
crime.
and I think he's going to be in the violence of government. I think that's what it's going to be, which is, and that's what I think Stanley Kubrick's really getting at, or at least hinting at, is like you think what he was doing bad. Look at the people that run your country.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were being literal about evolution. He was gonna like grow like axe arms or something. That's what I thought at first. But no, I like that interpretation of like now he thinks that he can actually do more of these things because he'll be state sanctioned to do so.
I mean, you also see it like in a small form with the drogues becoming police officers. You know, the youth becoming the. Yeah. So it's. I mean, it makes sense to me. You know.
Yeah, but I think one of the other reasons that the ending it doesn't quite land for me. Is it also they don't really decide what they want to say on what the solution should be? Not to say it needs a thesis, but they kind of run through these different options where it's like, well, clearly just status quo. This doesn't work because you can't have Alex and people like Alex doing these things. This is not societally good. No one agrees that's good. But they don't seem to suggest like incarceration on its own is reforming him at all, right? Because he's in there for 2 years. And the progress he makes is, which I think is hilarious. It's one of the funniest scenes in the film where he's reading the Bible, and you basically already know what it's going to be when they cut to Jesus, but just the slow reveal of he's reading the Bible stories and imagine himself as the centurion abusing Jesus, like literally physically assaulting Jesus Christ. And it's like, yes, this is moral reform from prison. But very clearly the Ludovico method, the brainwashing he goes through, like, they make a really strong stance against that. I think the most earnest statement of the entire film is probably that quote from the chaplain, who's depicted as pretty flawed before, but I think pretty respectfully in that scene after the method when he says, you cease to become a man if you don't have the agency to make your own decisions. I think that's very legitimate. Like, what's the point of, if you're essentially just euthanizing people if you're not going to like let them be themselves to such a repressive extent or whatever. And then death penalty never comes up. Maybe it's arguing for the death penalty. It's like, oh, the people like Al, but I don't really think that. Like, they don't do anything to suggest that that's what the solution should be. So I understand it's a fantasy scenario, right? Like, there's not hordes of people doing this, taking their drug milk and walking around whacking people in real life. But you end up in this weird situation where you put in all this political theming around the main story, but there's no actual policy suggestion that it feels like there's a conclusion from, which is probably why they struggle to end the book as well. I guess there has to be a happy ending, and in this one it's like, I guess there has to be an open-ended ending, because what else do you do?
Yeah, to me the ending of the book makes more sense. And like the first time I watched this film, I read about the ending and stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, fuck that. Why would there be a happy ending? Doesn't make sense in the context of the story. But if the idea is that free will is important, then I think a concluding chapter where he exercises his free will, like, it makes sense. There's a third position. Like, you don't have to struggle with your nature or completely override your nature. You can change your nature, like, through your own means.
Yeah, which I think in real life is the most
That's
most
what we
correct.
accept is true.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not can't be 100% whatever, but that's the most correct way we can go about things, right? Like, you know.
Yeah, but it is funny that it's changed for American audiences. So you guys would be, Bosky, you'd be for the ending as it is.
Yeah, because why would I want to see him repent and later on be like, yeah, because to me, once you're a rapist, always a rapist. There's no repenting, so fuck that guy.
Okay, I mean, yeah, maybe like this is the idealist in me, but like I want to believe that people are capable of change.
He just murdered multiple people. He was raping people. Yeah.
Did he murder multiple people?
No, just one.
That we know of.
Just the one, and it was an accident, and he seemed to be bothered by it.
No, he was bothered it was caught. We don't know.
I think it's him being stupid and him thinking, oh, if I just smash her on the gulliver with this giant ceramic penis, I won't do no harm with it.
And he was probably on the drugs as well.
I've watched so many like young people doing things that kill people, and they just don't see the impact of their actions.
Consequences.
Yeah, that too. So and that was the 70s, or at least I guess maybe the 90s where it's taken place. I would argue that maybe he has killed a lot of people, just no one knows. You know, he's obviously assaulting people willy nilly. He's obviously raping people willy nilly. I mean, no, actually, true. The other guy's wife that he kills through rape. You know, she died.
Well, she dies a month later or whatever.
Yeah, same thing.
I think it's implied to be like mentally she probably like shuts down, like she dies of pneumonia. Maybe she wasn't eating, whatever. Like his rape definitely caused her death, but it's not murder, if that makes sense.
Anyways, so I'm just saying, this guy is a bad person. He's like, I think the comparison on the Wikipedia.
Yeah, I think everyone agrees he's a bad person.
I think the comparison.
It's controversial.
I think the comparison on Wikipedia is he's
a real jerk.
He's Richard III, basically. He's very charismatic, but also a baddie.
That is how they
Richard III come up somewhere, and maybe it was him talking about it. I'm not sure, but I think the difference with Richard III is that he's a little more schemy, right? Like Alex isn't really schemy. His only scheme type thing he does control his little group is when he stabs the guy. He just decides, they're going to try to usurp my leadership, and then he just assaults them randomly to reestablish his authority.
Yeah.
But okay, but in your worldview, Bosco, he's a bad guy, and like fuck him, he's never going to change, right? Or no?
I don't know if he's never going to change. I mean, he'll probably change with a bullet in his head for sure. But yeah, he's a bad guy. I don't think what I'm saying is crazy, dude. I don't know why you're trying to say he's a good guy.
I'm not trying to say he's a good guy, but I think people get judged for their actions, and then they get either contained, like they get put in prison for the rest of their lives, or they get given a chance to reform.
Yeah, I guess. But that was a lefty government. They wanted to free him, so and they freed him.
Yeah, well, I'm thinking more in terms of like the intentional choice to omit the happy chapter for the U.S. audience.
Well,
I'm thinking like
it wasn't
maybe it's a
omitted
cultural
on
thing.
purpose. It was omitted because the book in America that Kubrick read didn't have the chapter in it.
No, but no copy in America had the happy chapter.
Yeah, the American publisher decided that.
Yeah, well, that's good. That's good.
Okay,
That's fine. I mean, what do you want me? Want me to argue about like second natures and stuff? And I don't care. It's like this doing. Oh yeah. Do you think the publisher made a good decision? We're talking about a fucking movie, dude. I don't know.
Well, no, I think it's just because
but I think it affects.
Are you
the
gonna ask me
movie.
about the takeout that
Because-
Stanley Kubrick had next?
it's also a very easy comparison when you talk about, okay, well, what's a different way you could have done the ending rather than like come up with a whole new version.
Oh yeah.
There is a very clear other version that the ending could have been because it's the ending from the
Oh, I
source
know.
material.
What if the ending was like, and then they all left to Oceania and went to Airship One, and then they fucked Big Brother. Like, what the fuck? What do you? It's supposed to be dystopian. How can you be dystopian if you have a happy ending? There's like,
They fucked Big Brother, they have.
But I think for me the whole premise is that violence is inherent to the human condition, and you can't have like beauty or meaning without the violence that comes with being a human being.
I don't know about that.
So for there to be an ending where the protagonist gets over that and like ascends to a higher level of existence, like where everybody else is at, where you don't need to give in to your desires all the time, and you could suppress violence. I like that. It feels like a complete story rather than and then I jumped out of the house, hit my head, and I was back to square one.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah, I mean your interpretation is good too. That like okay, maybe
I know it's good because it's the right one.
he's scheming away in his head about all the violence he can do, and it's just like the villain is out there, and the state sucks. That works too. It didn't feel like that was how it was presented though.
It's a subplot. No, it is. It's mentioned like everywhere. It's like it's sprinkled on every scene.
That the state sucks, or what?
Well, yeah. I mean, this like what's going. Yeah, of course it's sprinkled. Let's see references. Newspapers are sprinkling about the state. There's the old guy that he rapes his wife. That he's talking about the other government.
But the old guy isn't the old guy. Oh, which old guy are you talking about?
The old guy that he rapes his wife. His name's actually supposed to be Alexander as well.
Yeah, but you see how the old guy flipped as well, right? Like the old guy was all for leniency and the inhumanity of the treatment that Alex suffered until he found out this was the guy who raped my wife and broke into my house. Then he wanted to kill that guy.
Yeah, but the use of killing him would still, or him killing himself would still serve the same purpose of showing the totalitarianism of the government, because they're trying to basically breed new people and change their thinking. So this was a good way of the ends justify the means no matter what. Like if you kill them or use them as a patsy of some sort to overthrow, it's the same fucking thing for the opposing government.
Yeah, I think the important is that he was certainly more compassionate before, but before he realizes he's the guy who raped his wife, he's still, I think he already calls his friends, like he's still planning to use him to score political points.
Yeah.
So there's a limit to like that guy is still acting pretty selfishly, even in the context before he's like personally aggrieved.
Yeah.
Dude, that old guy, his acting like cracks me up every time, and it's like stuck in my head.
My thing is,
He reminds me of who's the guy, Ron Howard's brother. Okay, you go now, Clint Howard, I think.
I'm just saying, man. I don't like his like house because they knock over all the library books and the bookcase. I wonder how many takes they did of that, and I keep thinking about it. And then I think of Malcolm McDowell jumping on the desk and one with like he did. You ever seen Bill Gates jump a chair in that interview in the '90s? Oh, I can jump a chair from a stand.
Vaguely,
yeah.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
awesome. That's the coolest thing he ever did. What are
Basically,
you talking about?
Malcolm McDowell
Other than rape those kids on
does
Epstein
it better. He just jumped on a desk. one, not like he just does that, knocks over a bookshelf. That whole scene was weird to me.
It made me think of the new. Have you watched the newest Mission Impossible movie? There's at one point during the fight scene in Alaska where they crash through a bookshelf. I'm like, yeah, it's like that.
Well, that was the scene they did a bunch of times, right? And Kubrick felt was missing something until he asked.
Singing in the rain.
I think it's bullshit because it's a huge plot point.
What do you mean? Do you think the scene is too good? It couldn't have been come up with randomly.
Because the scene's missing something. So let me use this part of this one scene that we just thought of out of my ass and add it to another scene as well. Because it's used as the trigger for him to know who the guy is, right? So
yeah, but in the book, I did look into this. In the book, he doesn't find out that way. In the book, a bunch of small things add up. Like Alex gives it away that he
I get it.
Knew they didn't have a telephone or something.
I don't care about that. I'm just saying. I don't think Stanley Kubrick, the most fucking controlling guy ever, who probably already had the screenplay ready, was like, oh yeah, let me just change 2 plot points in my entire story real quick.
But he didn't. That's the thing. It sounds like he did it chronologically.
It sounds like it's made for TV interview to make it sound interesting. Because think about it, they even got the rights for the song. It's in the fucking outro.
They were arguing about whether they should do it because of the rights.
Nah, they got it.
And Kubrick was like, "Well, we'll get the rights afterwards."
Yeah, see, I told you. It was all.
I watched the DVD extras.
Yeah, well, I watched at 2 speeds, so I know more than you. All right. Anyways, it's a movie, dude. I just don't know why they had to attack the cat lady. Do you think that cat lady represents Reddit?
Is she is she an awful? What are the acronyms here?
Fuck. Awful.
Affluent, white, female, urban liberal?
Yeah, I mean, she lives in a house with a bunch of cats and a huge mansion. Yeah, so she must be affluent.
Right, but your question is, what does the cat lady represent? Is she Reddit?
Yeah, she's Reddit, right?
Yeah, she's Reddit.
That's cool.
Yeah. No, Singing in the Rain was apparently the only song Malcolm McDowell knew. So it could have been a whole bunch of other songs, but that was the one he knew.
What if he did like Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin?
No, I think you need the juxtaposition. When did that come out?
I don't know.
It could have been after the film, maybe. No, I think you need the juxtaposition between the really happy song.
Yeah, I could have done that.
Ah, okay. You need the juxtaposition between the happy song and the psychotic violence.
Nah, I think it was Immigrant Song would have been better. I come from the land of nations. It would have been
better if Alex was like a Tolkien nerd instead of a Ludwig van Beethoven nerd.
Oh yeah, that'd be cool too. Or
there's so much music in this.
Or he's like, yeah, I really like the Beatles.
You talking about Ludwig van?
You're talking about Paul McCartney.
Van. Lovely Ludwig van.
John Lemon is
John Lemon.
What if he was like really big into the Oasis? That'd be good too.
You've ruined What's the Story, Morning Glory. No, not Noe Gal. Noe Gal. Do you like that electronic version of the main theme?
Kind of weird, not gonna lie.
They're doing like synth Beethoven.
Yeah, no, I hate that.
It sounds very ominous.
Yeah, well, Trump is.
I liked it. Did they play it in the title sequence or the end sequence? It was fine there, but in other places it was too grating.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan of it. I wasn't really a fan of it because it sounded like they're using some like mouth to. They were trying to like add lyrics or something, like sort of.
Oh, it does kind of sound like a talk box. I know what you mean with the tone of it. Yeah, it has that like I don't know if that's the tube or what it is, but tube with the amp. But I do know what you mean.
Yeah.
They also use, funnily enough, they use a bunch of Rossini. Is a lot of the classical music aside from the Ninth Symphony. Like I forget who does the theme that they adapted, and then obviously Beethoven's Ninth has a very pivotal role. A lot of the other incidental classical music, it's Rossini stuff. Like it's the overture from William Tell, which is very. And I think there's another piece of Rossini as well that I don't recall the name of.
But yeah, at times, like I just wish the movie would be quieter. It's just like there's always music going on.
Yeah, it was good though.
And sometimes they cut around the music quite well. Like the editing, the pace of the shots works with it. I don't know. I think it depends.
Did you see in the record store they had 2001 Space Odyssey?
Yeah, it was good. I was like, wow.
Reference to it?
On vinyl.
Yeah, on vinyl. No Beatles though.
No Beatles.
Yeah.
I liked how he was a self-proclaimed music nerd, but he's got this. Look at this expensive setup, so he can listen to shit on cassette tape.
It wasn't even regular cassette; it was like micro cassette.
A little baby cassette.
Didn't he have a vinyl player as well? Though?
He did, but he wasn't
using
using it. It was like that's a kind of like because it looked like it had 5 or 6 different things that are kind of like if you have a record player, they'll often be if you want to play like old 78s or certain 45s, they have the wider hole in the middle, so they'll come with these little wheel-looking pieces that go on the central stud.
I heard you have a wider hole in the middle.
I have a wider hole in the middle, and it looks like there's like 6 or 7 different sizes of those. So I think they tried to make like a futuristic-looking record player. That, or maybe it's supposed to be for the tape deck. I don't know. But later, when Clint Howard's torturing him from the pool table, which is an incredible shot. I love that shot where they're just slowly pulling back, and they're framed very non-natural in a good way. It's like a painting. Like I love the way that they lay it out. It just looks great visual. But he's also playing it out of a fucking tape deck, I'm pretty sure.
I guess it was futuristic thing. Oh, tape.
You need the good milk if you want to appreciate tape, mate.
What was in that milk anyways? Like cum?
Probably. I think they say at the very beginning there's like different types of milk with different drugs.
Oh yeah.
There's like a mescaline milk, and then he calls the milk statue dispenser thing Lucy. So maybe there's an LSD milk.
Oh,
they said Drenchrome. That's
adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome.
So maybe they're not actually killing people, but they just think they are.
Maybe the whole thing when he wakes up and he's like, they're playing around in my head. All of that was a dream.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, that would be so satisfying, wouldn't it?
It was
Turns out
it was
none
all
of
a
this
dream.
mattered. It was all a dream
By that guy, Tupac, I think.
by Biggie.
Biggie, yeah, that's it. That could have been the white guy. Is Juicy. It could have been Juicy.
It's all a dream. I used to read Ludwig van magazine.
Speaking of the music, you guys you must have heard like they wanted the Rolling Stones to play the roles.
Yeah, that was me. The Beatles.
Dude, at one point they wanted the Beatles as well. These were both on the table. Yeah, to have Mick Jagger play Alex and to have the Beatles be the Gang of Drinks.
I don't think that would have been so bad.
No,
that would have been so cool.
I think this is the producer's idea, not Kubrick's, though. Let me see if I can find.
I think this was before Kubrick took over the project, though.
Yeah, exactly. This is like this.
Oh, okay. So that doesn't really count.
He sold the film rights to whatever producer, and the producer was like poking around trying to find people to direct, people to star.
Okay, so Terry Southern, who we mentioned earlier, he was the one who wanted the Beatles.
That would be great. It would be Ringo, because Ringo is the best actor, so he would be I never even meant to murder that woman.
Oh, mate, it's me, Ringo.
There was another adaptation by Andy Warhol, and there's a copy of it on YouTube, but it's really avant-garde and low production value. I couldn't watch it.
Is it feature length?
It's 70 minutes long.
Damn. All right.
But
Andy.
it's like a couple of actors all like sat together very closely and like waiting for their turn to speak. And I had to turn it off when I got to the point where like one of the characters needed their lines whispered to them.
We're not doing more than one take, so you need your line.
Yeah, it was unrehearsed. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like a script.
But it's called vinyl.
Oh, this is 1965. So this is before the Kubrick version, though.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This is the real. This is the real version. This is the true version.
It comes off a lot more Italian.
Kubrick's is the fucking shitty remake. Yeah, this guy. There's a 2-minute clip. It has Italian subtitles, which helps. But he also kind of looks like old Christopher at the Lads Club there. You guys watch the other Kubrick movies from this?
I have.
Yeah.
But I figured like there are so many Kubrick films on this list that we're just going to get around to them eventually.
This is true. They're kind of paired up, just how they end up to break it up.
Did you feel like any other Kubrick films like related to this film in some way?
I would say the main way Full Metal Jacket feels like it relates is two. So one is in the text, one is metatextual. Full Metal Jacket, the textual way is that it's about essentially turning young men into killers, except this time that's the desired result. So whereas Clockwork Orange is concerned with taking these people, they're trying to mold them out of this mindset for violence. Full Metal Jacket is entirely about trying to mold people into the mindset for violence, to put them in an environment where they'll go through this shit, they'll be treated terribly, and then when they go over to Vietnam, they'll be ready to kill and not ask questions. And the second way, which is the more metatextual, is that it's not as extreme as Full Metal Jacket, but Clockwork Orange feels divided into two parts as well. I would make the argument, though, that basically when he gets out of prison, that is distinct enough to be a third part, even if it's hanging on. But the moment when he starts to where he first gets arrested, or actually let's say till when the arrest sequence ends, when he goes into the prison. That first 45 minutes is a different tone because it's about him doing the shit. It's about how wacky the world is, how awful his actions are, the Ludwig van, all the psychedelic set dressing, all these sorts of things. And then he gets put into the prison and it's very stark, and we start going down the road to Ludovico method and everything that comes after that. Full Metal Jacket, similarly, is also divided in two even more strongly, and it's my recollection. I watched it about 2 months ago now, mind you. Actually, more. It's even more direct how separate the halves feel, because the first half is all about training camp and Private Pile and all that, and then the second half is when they're in Vietnam. And these are you could make these completely separate movies if you wanted to. Like, you could add 20 minutes to either half and just call it a whole picture. And yes, it's some of the same characters in the second half, including the main character, the Joker, but not Joaquin Phoenix, the other guy, the Joker baby.
I'm the Joker, baby.
That's right. He's in the second half, but they're very distinct from each other. So that felt like a similar narrative structure, but a more extreme separation. And then Eyes Wide Shut is more related to when you talked about earlier Bill Clinton banging kids on Epstein's Island.
Because this is my on Eyes Wide Shut. That's crazy.
This is my theory about because people say that Chef Epstein killed Kubrick for ratting on the parties. But what I think maybe could also happen is that if you notice, there's a couple wide shots in this movie where they have Tom Cruise at actual height around women, like at the party and stuff. And I think the Xenu, like Scientology, probably killed Kubrick for that.
Eyes Wide Shut depresses me. It's too blackpilling of a movie. I don't like to think about it. I'm never going to rewatch it.
Why don't you just accept the rich guy who's his original who runs the Christmas party? He gives like one of those explanations that this is part of what makes it brilliant. He gives an explanation at the end that it's like, we know it's clearly not true. Like, we know he's lying, but it's like all these things, like you could be like, yeah, no, that could have like a 10% chance of happening or whatever. Like all these things, which is what makes it so effective, is he's essentially creating a scenario where we all know he's lying. Everyone knows he's lying. Bill probably knows he's lying, but he's just trying to make it believable enough to give Bill peace of mind, because they don't want to kill Bill. He likes Bill. Bill's his doctor. He doesn't want to punish Tom Cruise more.
Kill Bill.
So kill Bill with the foot fetish.
Speaking of classic cinema,
and but so he makes this lie that's just believable enough. Like I couldn't tell you there's a 0% chance what he says happened is true, which is they got mad at the piano player. They put him on a flight back to Seattle. Nothing happened to that woman that didn't happen before. They just, she just fucked a bunch of people, and then that was it. And it was all just dramatic and put on for a show because Bill wasn't supposed to be there. There's not like a 0% chance that happened, but obviously as the audience, based on what we've seen, based off all the contextual clues, we're not actually meant to believe that, but that works, which is why I know it's like, I get why it's too black pill, because it's like, how many things in our actual lives have we just accepted the comfortable version, the telling your doctor, Bill, well, this is what could have happened. Oh, yeah, it's a lot nicer if that would have happened. So I think just keep going with that, because I can't destroy my whole life.
Yeah, maybe that's the way forward. Final thoughts, Bosco?
Well, I'm surprised we didn't watch this after we watched Singing in the Rain. But ironically, Singing in the Rain is coming out today, or has actually been out for 6 hours. So there you go.
Why don't we redo the order? So this one comes out after next. And then we'll have the Prince intro for each episode. The Singing in the Rain variant.
Thank you. I was at a traffic light in Stratford, Ontario, when inspiration struck me. The most original concept possible to make beautiful music. Oh, yeah, that's it? Okay, well, let me tell you this. Oh, bliss in heaven. Oh, it was gorgeousness and gorgiosity made flesh. It was like a bird of rarest spun heaven metal or silvery wine flowing in a spaceship. Gravity all nonsense now. As I slew-sheed, I knew such lovely pictures. Goodbye.
I'm fucking in the rain, just sucking 'cause I'm gay. What a glorious feeling, I'm home again. I'm laughing at cum so deep in my throat. the dick's in my ass, and I'm ready for love.